through all of the documents, and so far there is still no evidence.
Well,
I'm open to
then
it.
why not?
If you listen to me, I just feel like it's like the obsession. I mean, bringing the Clintons in, it's ridiculous.
Right,
Well,
but
it is
Tell that to Donald Trump. You just said you agree with Donald Trump. You just said you agree with Donald Trump.
I'm saying it's time to move on. And
I think it's interesting. You want to move on from
what you just heard sounds firm and reassuring. There is no evidence, so it is time to move on. That conclusion feels tidy, even responsible, but it only works if the investigation is complete. What follows exposes a deeper issue because certainty is being declared while access to information remains limited. This is not about outrage or party politics. It is about whether conclusions are being reached before the facts are fully examined.
Tonight, public demands for more information and accountability regarding the Epstein files are only growing. But President Trump thinks it's time for America to simply move on.
A lot of women who are survivors of Epstein's are unhappy with those redactions that came out. Some of them, entire witness interviews are totally blacked out. Do you think that they should be more transparent?
The fact that they thought they released too much. I heard that, and you tell me something else. So, I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else. Really. Now that nothing came out about me, other than there was a conspiracy against me, literally by Epstein and other people. But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
Shocking, Keith, but not surprising, that a question about the victims would have an answer about Donald Trump.
A question about victims is answered with personal dismissal. That distinction matters.
No, it's not surprising. It's sad. He makes it all about himself. Donald Trump is mentioned more than 38,000 times in the latest batch of Epstein files released by the FBI, according to the New York Times analysis. 38,000 times. He's the current president of the United States. He was the president of the United States at the time when Epstein mysteriously died in prison. And now he wants to pretend like this is not an issue after he made it an issue for an entire year during the campaign and his first few months in office. This is looking beyond difficult to believe. And the worst part about it is they're trying to turn the attention to Bill and Hillary Clinton, who I think go ahead and investigate them all you want. But Bill Clinton left office in 2001. That was 25 years ago. Hillary Clinton left office in 2013. That was 13 years ago. Why are we digging him up instead of going after the guy who was the president of the United States, who has a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, who knew him, who went to parties with him, who sent a birthday note to him, and said he had a lot of fun hanging out with him? Well, he's the one we should be investigating.
Okay,
Facts enter the discussion, not emotions. Numbers change the frame.
Unsatisfying to say the least, but
yeah. And also, there are more than 1,000 survivors. How do you think, again, they feel? Trump already said several weeks back, a couple months back, before the Epstein Transparency Act, where they were ordered to release the files. Why is everyone paying attention to this? Let's move on. There are 1,000 survivors waiting for some kind of vindication, justice, prosecution of unprosecuted
or even a phone call from the Justice Department asking them what they know.
Yes, an interview from law enforcement to help with an investigation of additional perpetrators. And they're getting hearing from the President of the United States, let's move on. It has nothing to do with me, nothing going. I mean, how do they take that? And I've met some of them here at CNN, and just the frustration they are having with the way the government is treating to them, and to have to watch television and listen to something like that, being a survivor of those type of horrible acts.
Survivors are not asking for verdicts. They are asking for process.
Have you seen any evidence of new crimes in the millions of documents that have been released, like any criminal activity?
I have not reviewed 6 million pages that the government
seen some
released.
Of them. I mean,
yes.
Have you seen any crimes?
So there have been reports from senators who have read reports that we haven't seen that there are perhaps 20 individuals who may be potential co-conspirators, who may be perpetrators of crimes, and they are asking for those people to be investigated. We're being told there's nothing there. We are told that over and over again. In July of 2025, the FBI and the DOJ issued a report, a memo to the public saying, back then, we looked at every file that exists, not telling us there were 6 million pages. We looked in drawers, we looked in file cabinets, we looked at all our Epstein documents, and there's no reason to perpetrate anybody else. Yet, Donald Trump came forth a few months ago and ordered the DOJ and Pam Bondi to investigate well-known Democrats, including Bill Clinton. And she initiated that very day and said, thank you, Mr. President, I'm on it. I'm appointing a U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York to investigate these Democrats who you named.
This introduces contradiction. Nothing exists, yet investigations are
these
ordered.
Democrats who you named to the Epstein file.
To
But
that
that's
point,
a no,
I mean,
right?
but-
You haven't seen
but hold on,
evidence
but
of crimes.
but to her point about the willingness to prosecute Bill Clinton or whoever else on the Democratic side, Todd Blanche
Prosecute or
repeatedly
investigate?
Investigate, presumptively to prosecute. I don't know, but I presume they're investigating to prosecute. Todd Blanche seems to want to insist that it's okay to just dismiss the people who are showing up in the files because it's not criminal to party with Jeffrey Epstein. Nobody said that. But I think the question that the victims are asking is why then is just the Justice Department not following through on the signals that might be there and doing deeper investigation? And that, I think, is the thing that people don't understand about how they're going about this.
Can I just answer your question, actually?
Sure.
How can anybody, a defense attorney, a prosecutor, anyone know if there's indicia of criminal acts in those pages when they're redacted? And we're trusting the government, who didn't want to give those pages out, to do the redacting. So no one can answer your question.
Redactions prevent certainty. Conclusions without visibility
So
are premature.
no one can answer your question.
And
We don't
obviously
know.
the victims, they are the keepers of a lot of this information. A lot of them want to be interviewed. They want a true investigation, and they don't feel like that's happening. I mean, let me just
I'm just okay. I really agree with the president. I think that most Americans just do not care about this. This has been an obsession of elites on the right and now elites on the left. Elites on the right were obsessed with it when they thought they could use it to hurt leftists, and now the left is obsessed with it because they think they can use it to hurt the right. Everything we're seeing in this document dump is evidence of people who exhibited horrific judgment. I have no problem with these people being kind of chased out of public life for continuing to associate with this person. But there is
Here,
just
obsession replaces examination. That is a
associate with this
rhetorical
person.
move.
But there is just no evidence, and there has never been any evidence, that the criminal aspect, the underage girls, the pedophilia, the child pornography, that any of that went further than Epstein and Maxwell.
How do we
I
know
don't
that
think the
until we have the
survivors
evidence?
I'm
would
saying
agree with
so
you.
far there has been no evidence of that. I'm looking through all of the documents, and so far there is still no evidence. I'm open
well,
to
then
it.
why not?
If
Why-
you listen
why-
to me, I just feel like it's like the obsession. I mean, bringing the Clintons in, it's ridiculous.
Right,
Well,
but
if you-
if you
Tell
listen
that to
to
Donald
the
Trump. You just said you
I'm
agree with
saying it
Donald
on
Trump.
CNN.
You just said you agree with Donald
I'm saying
Trump.
it's time to move
unreal.
on. And
I think it's interesting.
why
You want to
people
move
are
on from
obsessed
this,
with
but
this.
not from ballots in Fulton County from 6 years ago.
I
and I will
also
say that
literally said
there are-
I am not
there-
interested in that story
there was
at
a-
all.
Okay, well, we're not interested in either one. There was a poll a
Yes,
couple of weeks
correct.
ago that showed that 6% of Americans, 6, said that they feel satisfied with what's been released from the Epstein files. This has
Public
been
interest does not determine truth.
files.
Evidence.
This has been not only nefarious, it's been incompetent. Millions of pages are redacted that shouldn't be. There are victims' names that have been released that should not have been. There's files that aren't. There's pages that aren't there that should be there. It's completely incompetent. And on top of it, the President of the United States is saying, let's just move on, when it was the President of the United States who was trying to block this from happening in the first place. It started in his base. I have to say, morally and politically, this is a growing problem for him. He can wish it away.
Totally
He can try to
disagree.
divert and talk about
Harry
Fulton
Enton
County.
had an amazing. I just want to cite the wonderful Harry Enton, who had an amazing segment on this 6 months ago, where CNN asked pollsters what percentage of Americans this is a top voting issue for them, and you know what the answer was? A big fat zero.
Yeah, I don't know that it
Like,
needs
this
to be
is
a
just
top
not-
voting issue for Americans for it to not be important to them how it's being handled. But I also just want to note, I mean, you alluded to the potential problems for Trump.
Timelines are
This
invoked selectively. That inconsistency is
problems
revealing.
for Trump. This Clinton deposition, Trump actually had some nice things to say about Clinton when he was asked about it, and it could very well be because he recognized that there's a precedent being set here, that they're going to haul a former president in and a family member into Congress to testify about Epstein. And you better believe that when Democrats have the opportunity to do the same, they will do the same for Donald Trump.
Abby, can't you
and
just
that
give
is
him
a
credit
that is a political problem
for
him.
saying something kind about
No,
Bill
I'm not.
Clinton?
Stop sucking up to Donald Trump. That's
Very
Suck it
nice
up.
thing.
Go ahead, Tim.
Stop sucking up. He's not watching
I
probably.
literally just said 2 negative things
Oh
about
my
him.
God.
Listen, there's no credit. I'm not
He
crediting
said a
him. I'm
very
not
nice
giving him
thing
demerits.
about Bill Clinton. He was
It
against
doesn't
calling
matter
them
what
into
the
do
motivations.
You believe everything he
It doesn't
says?
really matter what the motivations, whether it's nice or not. I don't really care. The issue is Trump now at risk of being hauled before Congress to testify on the Epstein files if Democrats retake control?
The debate shifts from facts to fatigue. That shift is intentional.
Well, first of all, Abby, I would say this. You're talking about a president who is quite used to the left hauling him into court to testify.
He's never been hauled into the halls of Congress to
I would say
testify.
this. I've never personally had a conversation with the president or anyone close to him about this issue. I have a sneaking suspicion that if he was to ask to come testify, I think he would. I don't think that you guys can laugh.
Donald
but she
Trump.
raises,
It is a little
you guys
funny.
can laugh.
It's
But she
ironic.
raises a valid point.
He
And
wouldn't
this is
even
why I
testify
talked
in his own
about.
court
This is
hearing.
why I talked about the fact that actually on this show that we should not politicize this issue, that the full weight of the government should be behind bringing justice to these victims. And everybody should be ashamed of themselves for saying Republican, Democrat, Donald Trump, this isn't a political issue. This is about people that were victimized, and we should be investigating.
Tell
We
that to
should be-
Donald Trump.
Listen, can I finish my point? We should be leaving no stone unturned on this issue.
Tell
So
that to
I don't
Donald
think
Trump.
that this is like a Republican jab.
Calls for fairness emerge only after pressure builds.
You're absolutely right. The right used it when they thought it was going to hurt the left. The left used it when they thought they were going to hurt the right.
Donald
that's
Trump is the
not
one
right.
who is
They should be doing
spewing
an
this
investigation that brings justice to the
conspiracy for
victims.
years.
Right.
Donald
All right.
Trump
And if
has been
You just
spewing-
said, sir, that
Donald
you
Trump-
think that
Donald-
we
hold on.
should not investigate the Clintons because they left office
No,
20 years ago.
I said by
That's
all,
not
I
right.
said
We
by
should investigate
all
everybody.
means, go ahead and investigate them. But they left office 13 years ago
Well,
or
there is no
25
but.
years
There's
ago.
no but. I don't care if they
yes,
would have
there
been
is
in
a-
office when
yes,
Jesus Christ
there
was
is a
here.
but. You don't
They should be
investigate one
investigated.
side and not investigate the other and
I
say
agree.
you're actually conducting a fair and
I
impartial
agree. Investigate
investigation.
everybody.
All right.
Investigate everybody.
This last quick point, this wasn't political until the government who said, when Trump came into office, we're releasing the Epstein files, it's on my desk, Pam Bondi, it's coming out, we're telling it to all of you, and then all of a sudden, no, we're not giving you anything. Then it became political. So don't
No
blame
stone
that
unturned.
on
Investigate
anyone but the
everybody and
government.
bring justice to the victims.
Tell that to Trump.
Next for us.
This final exchange brings the entire conversation into focus. This issue did not become political because people demanded answers. It became political when transparency was promised and then withdrawn. When leaders say move on while controlling what information is released, they are not asking for closure. They are asking for disengagement. That strategy depends on repetition and exhaustion, on the idea that if an issue is framed as boring or obsessive long enough, people will stop paying attention. Notice the pattern throughout this discussion. Investigations into decades-old figures are treated as urgent and justified. But when scrutiny approaches the present, suddenly timelines matter and evidence is declared insufficient. Justice does not have an expiration date, and it does not change standards based on power. What you are watching here is not proof of guilt or innocence. It is proof of inconsistency. And in any serious system of accountability, inconsistency is the warning sign that cannot be ignored. If unanswered questions can be buried simply by demanding silence, then accountability becomes optional. Share your thoughts below, and if you value calm, evidence-based analysis over noise, subscribe for more.